You don't need to change yourself in order to become a higher value version of yourself. You simply have to tap into the primordial feminine archetypes that are already within you and express them and enhance them with your own flair. And in this video, I will tell you how you can do that using the Tarot Queen archetypes. I will explain the traits of the four queens, and you can use these to enhance your persona, and you'll also be able to implement day-to-day practices to help enrich your inner world. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sabina. I'm a belly dancer and have an online belly dance school called Swan Belly Dance. And for me, belly dancing is not just about the dance. I teach belly dance through feminine embodiment, or rather, feminine embodiment through belly dance, however you want to frame that, because I teach you how to find new layers of femininity, how to enhance those, and actually implement those into your day-to-day life. And so on this channel, as well as dance classes, you can find videos about femininity. Let's just clarify the tarot archetypes. First of all, tarot is not always for fortune telling. It is actually simply a depiction of the characters, archetypes, and events that we witness in our world. And actually, we all live through these events and we all embody these archetypes throughout our life. So it's actually a cool introspection tool, and we can turn to tarot to understand different aspects of ourselves, understand archetypes, and in this video I will help you to tune into the energies of the four queens. And ultimately, I do believe that when you're able to exhibit those traits within you and play around with all four, you are more connected to your divine feminine energy, and you have all of the tools to live through womanhood in style. Now, the four different queens in tarot, Queen of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Cups, represent the four elements: water, fire, earth, and air. And this is a really cool analogy of the different temperaments that we get in people. It's basic, but it sums up the different energies that we see very well. And it's very similar to the zodiac signs, where you also have these four elements. The problem is that we are often one-dimensional in the way that we express ourselves, in the way that we show up. And in reality, it's normal to have one temperament or one archetype that's the more dominant one. Yes, these can change throughout our life. However, when we are able to consciously bring in other sides to ourselves and activate other archetypes, we become way more fascinating and captivating. We become more of a main character energy. And when you think about main characters, when you're watching a movie or a really engaging story tell, they are often not one-dimensional. We see many different sides to them, we see them in different scenarios, and so our job is to go on a inward journey and see, what aspects of myself have I been hiding? What aspects of myself have I not fully expressed? And it's not so much about creating a fake character necessarily. The point of archetypes really is actually the fact that these all exist within us, within the collective unconscious, as Carl Jung would describe it. Let's start with the Queen of Cups archetype. She is associated with the water element, and already you can think of the traits that are associated with water. So that is artistry, intuition, deep emotional connection, fluidity, and softness. So what makes the Queen of Cups so alluring? She is like the heroine from a period drama movie. So think like Keira Knightley, the Bridgerton series. She's full of romance, she's soft, she's artistic, and she brings that dreamy vibe into your life. And she lives that. She is always full of love. She loves to create. She does live in a fantasy world, but her power is that she can absolutely bring that to other people. If you look at the actual Queen of Cups tarot card, you can see that she's holding this cup. It is closed, but this is symbolic of the fact that she gifts other people the deep waters of creativity, deep emotions, love, and also is symbolic of the fact that she herself needs to absorb that. She needs to fill herself up with the creativity, the art, the inspiration. And one of the ways that you can live out a Queen of Cups archetype is very much to fill yourself up with things that inspire you, um, particularly artistic things, because then you're able to digest that and you're able to produce that. And thus, you create your own world, your own dreamy, fantasy like world. And it could be through many things, whatever it is that you're into. It doesn't necessarily always have to be creative arts or performing arts. It could be in the form of cooking amazing dishes, maybe adding something cultural and having a theme in those. If you're more of a systematic kind of producer, you love creating, I don't know, spreadsheets, you have a job that you're passionate about that's more about um, theory, you can create in that. You can add something unique from something that inspired you. Perhaps you saw a movie and now you want to implement it into your system. I'm sorry, I'm not able to give you exact examples because I don't actually participate in that myself much. So let's say you work in technology and you saw a movie about futuristic technology, maybe AI, now you're trying to create something that is more futuristic and thinking of ideas, and it's all because you filled yourself up with something that was inspirational and something that really got your creativity flowing. And as for the creative girlies like myself, well, this is quite easy. For example, I saw a Dracula ballet at the London Palladium Theatre, and it was just so stunning. It was super macabre, very romantic, but very elegant. And I was so inspired by the Dracula brides. And they were wearing these drapey, I don't know, either silky or chiffon dresses, and it really inspired me to add that to my day to day and also in my aesthetic. I will also be channeling that in my London belly dance course, which is going to happen at the end of July. Because I'm a belly dancer, I also want to add a little section about how you can tune into this archetype through belly dance. And whether you already do belly dance or not, I think you'll find this interesting. And I really hope that those that haven't tried belly dance will be inspired to do so. Embodying the Queen of Cups archetype through belly dance is probably one of the easiest things you can do. In belly dancing, we have all of these fluid, flowing movements, spiraling movements, and of course, a lot of sensual moves. And there's nothing better that connects you to that watery element and activates that sensuality. And so, naturally, if you try belly dance, you are already embodying her archetype. And I actually have a class where I did a combination that's very elegant and fluid to a very romantic song. So I'll link it here. It's on YouTube, so you can try. I also have a journal prompt for the Queen of Cups, which I will link in the description. It is free. I'm afraid for now, the Queen of Cups is the only archetype I'm focusing on, because otherwise it's just too much. But if you're interested and intrigued with this archetype, then please do give it a try. And let me know in the comments if the Queen of Cups resonated with you. Do you feel like you are embodying this, or is this something that you want to express more of? I'd love to know your thoughts. Next, we have the Queen of Wands. She represents the fire element. She's bold, she's confident, she takes center stage. She also represents taking action because she does not hesitate. And just like the fire on her wand, she acts on her impulses and she lights up the room with her energy. She's unapologetically herself and does not require approval from others. The Queen of Wands is a leader, and she's a very confident one, of course, because as a leader, you have to be confident. And in order to embody her energy, you need to understand that You are the one that dictates how people feel about you. As I mentioned before, she does not require approval. She knows that the way she carries herself is in her full control. And so you are not waiting for people to react to you, you're not waiting for people to support you. You simply act with confidence and you make people follow you. You make people listen to you. This mindset shift is key for taking the power back to yourself, away from other people, away from the external world, and being that own spark of fire that lights up the way for yourself. Here are some practical things you can do to embody her energy. First of all, it's to simply act on the idea, act on that impulse, stop overthinking. Classic one would be posting on social media because you're afraid of what other people will think, starting that YouTube channel. It's scary at first, but it really is a snowball effect. You need to light that initial spark, and then the fire will just be ever growing. Because with more practice, the more action you will take, the better and more confident you become. So it's really important to just be so passionate, so confident within yourself to actually start something. The other thing you can do is to actively be a leader and initiate something. Step forward. For example, if you're in an office job and perhaps you're not in a managerial role, you can still step up with new ideas. You might want to lead a new project or create a little society or a group. There's always space for you to express new ideas and bring something to the table. Perhaps you want to start a community in your local area about a specific subject. Another good example is actually giving your expertise with freelance work, where it's you that charges ahead, it's you that attracts clients, and you're able to then offer your expertise by being the leader and having your own personal brand. If you want to be a well-rounded woman, you need to have things that you're good at and interests, ideally also outside of your work. And so you can see how the different queens flow into each other nicely. I would say that with the Queen of Cups, when you start to consume things that interest you, you will naturally find things that you want to pursue, new hobbies, new interests, and you will start creating in those fields. And then with the Queen of Wands, then you take that and you actually make something out of it. You start becoming a leader and a producer and sharing your fire with the world. Because there's no point in you holding so much skill, creative potential to then not utilize it. When it comes to belly dancing, I would really suggest you look into Egyptian shabi. So this is a style within Egyptian belly dance, and it's so fun, so high energy, very playful, but in a way that's more bold and sassy. And it doesn't focus on elegance and grace. It's more of almost like a street vibe, whilst also being pretty feminine. You could make it feminine, absolutely. This is what I love about Egyptian belly dance, which is what I specialize in, by the way. It's so rich with different styles, and I do see the different styles as like different archetypes that you can embody, and this is very much my method for teaching belly dance. We'll learn a style, we'll practice the technique and the choreography, but what can we get out of it, and how can we actually use that to enrich our persona and embody those different traits and characters in real life? And so by practicing shabi, I think you can really get more of a bold, sassy persona out of it. I like the fact that because it's not so much so focused on graceful technique, you kind of just stop caring about being correct and being polished, and instead you just let yourself be, you have fun, and you kind of become more of a rebel on stage. Now let's look at the Queen of Swords archetype. This queen is all about sharp intellect, clear communication, and boundaries. She's very strong. She hates fakeness, and she always looks to bring about justice and clarity into situations. Her magnetism lies in the fact that she doesn't people please. She's got clear boundaries, giving her a rather ice queen demeanor. She sets the standard high, so naturally people respect her, and it gives her an aura of authority. She also loves to learn, and she's very knowledgeable, and this is a very high value woman trait because it means you're investing in your self development, you're making your inner world more rich, you improve your expertise, you're constantly looking to grow. I once saw this photo where it said the most sexy body part is actually your brain, and that is so true because physical attraction, it's shallow, it can fade. But if you don't have anything underlying that's deeper, then it just won't last. You bond way more deeply with someone through their unique thought processes, their unique positioning, worldview, of course, interests. I personally really value people that introduce me to new things, new ideas, new concepts, because it's just way more interesting that way. One of the best things you can do to embody the Queen of Swords archetype is to learn and invest time and effort into your self development. Refine your expertise, refine your knowledge, but make sure that it's unique to you. Find subjects and niches that are aligned with what you truly like and enjoy, and not just the mainstream things. For example, I was always fascinated with archetypes and mysticism, and I really didn't know where I was going with it. I also obviously was doing belly dance, like that was my main passion. And in the end, I thought, wow, I could actually fuse these together. And you never know what things actually can be combined and what things come into this really cool ecosystem for you. And I think one of the best things you can do is just to follow your heart and follow your passions. Because I think in the end, you'll see that they might connect, and it wasn't just for a random reason that you were drawn to this subject. Another thing to focus on to refine that inner Queen of Swords within you is to work on your communication style. Do you over explain yourself? Do you talk in an overly modest way when presenting yourself or when you're at work? Because all of these things, they lower your status. And as a true Queen of Swords, you want to be clear, you want to be confident, and you don't diminish yourself for others. You don't people please. And this in turn will help you to become more successful. You'll notice that, for example, people at work will have more respect for you. You might position yourself as more of a leader because you talk in a more clear way. I feel like a lot of the time we undersell ourselves and even miss opportunities, not because we're not good at something, but simply because we're not able to present ourselves in a confident way. A lot of belly dancers actually exhibit the Queen of Swords archetype the more they do belly dance. So, for example, with Egyptian belly dance, there are many styles. And there is so much to learn, not just from through the technique and the different ways you can style a dance, but through the rich history. And then you have the rich musicality and learning about all of the different instruments and how to express them. And it's just been such a enriching, interesting, deep journey, and I'm still learning. There's still so much to learn. And so I really do recommend belly dance, especially Egyptian belly dance, because it's so, so deep in many aspects, from historical to musical to technical. And for example, in my online ballady course, I did a really big deep dive on the history of ballady, but also on the musicality of ballady. And I noticed that when you learn musicality and then you learn how to improvise that to that and how to choreograph to that, you're actually using so many different parts of your brain and a mix of logical but also creative and intuitive thinking that it just leaves you feeling so fulfilled, and you really feel yourself growing as a person, as an artist. So there's definitely so much to look forward to when it comes to belly dance. Now, our final queen for today, the Queen of Pentacles. She represents someone that is very resourceful, grounded, and has reached quite a high status because of her security, her material abundance. And she's someone that is very good at cultivating and working towards the long-term result, and then enjoying the fruits of her labor. Not only does she symbolize the practical, hardworking archetype, but she also has a motherly side, because this is someone that knows what it takes to cultivate life. When it comes to the motherly side, for the non-mothers out there, this can very much represent the creative projects that you bring to life. With this archetype, there is a lot of nurturing, giving, generous energy, because she's achieved a lot, and she's either able to share this maybe material abundance with others, or she's able to mentor others because she's reached a high status, whether it's through expertise or just being very financially independent. So, very classy energy. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that similar to the Queen of Cups archetype? She's also very giving, and she's holding the cup and offering her love and care. I would say what differentiates them is the fact that Queen of Pentacles is more mature, and she has more of that higher status. She could be either a wife or an owner. And the Queen of Cups is more of like a lover archetype that inspires. Not to diminish her, not at all. It's just a different kind of energy, and she brings other things to the table, like inspiration and more creativity, more romance. Whereas the Queen of Pentacles, she often brings something more practical, whether it's her knowledge, whether it's the financial abundance that she has achieved. So you can see this natural progression as we move through the queens. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily how tarot was designed, but this is just how I see the queens evolve. To me, the Queen of Cups brings more of a maiden energy to the table. She's youthful, she brings new ideas, she's like this breath of fresh air. Whereas the Queen of Pentacles, because she's all about that long term cultivation and achieving high status, she is more mature. And this actually makes sense because the Queen of Pentacles is the earth element. Pentacles represents the earth, and the earth is the slowest element. So it's about taking your time. It's something that's more mature, it's something that comes after. So you can see how the tarot queens progress naturally. What makes the Queen of Pentacles so magnetic and alluring is the fact that she speaks class, she is sophisticated. It's someone where you can see they've poured a lot of time, energy, and money into themselves on pretty much all fronts. She is about quiet confidence because she does not need to prove herself, and oftentimes it's already visible that she is of high stature and she has achieved a lot. The way you could activate this archetype within you in your everyday life is to get clear on your goals and actively work towards them through disciplined action, through breaking them down. And I personally use the 12-week year method. It's really helped me to break down my goals for the year and make clear, actionable steps and goals for each of the weeks. Of course, looking after yourself and having healthy habits in terms of exercise, self development is just something that goes without saying. However, when you decide for yourself what your unique goals are, this changes everything because it gives you a vector for your self-development. It means that you actively, day in, day out, put yourself first, and you know exactly what needs to be done to invest time into yourself, to build a life that you dream of. And the Queen of Pentacles is energy, gives you that discipline and that long-term vision to make this happen. So you really have to be super loyal to yourself in order to every day do something, even if it's just a small thing, that moves you closer to your goals. You also need to practice patience in the process, and you need to understand that things don't happen overnight. And it might seem like that on social media, but the reality is often the opposite, and you need to be ready for that. And I'd say that by practicing all of these daily habits and setting goals, it's really taught me to not give up when things get hard and really work for the long term and cultivate that inner patience and resilience. Building an online business, running my Swan belly dance social media is definitely something that activates my Queen of Pentacles, because I have to stay consistent with content, and I invest a lot of time into learning about how I can build and improve my business further. And of course, naturally, belly dance training has helped me to get into that disciplined state of being, because belly dancing, I'm telling you, is not easy. It's not the most easy dance style to get used to at first, because we're not used to moving and isolating the different body parts that way. And as mentioned before, there's so much that goes into it, not just technique and choreography, but musicality, improvisation. And if you're looking to have that grounded feel, that really pushes you to be disciplined and consistent, I highly recommend looking into the drum solo style within belly dance. So that is when you dance to just the tabla sounds, so the drum sounds. You might have heard that. So I'll show you an example here. So you can hear the music is just drums, and the style and the technique is very much about precision. And to get that precision, you need to work so hard. You need to be so resilient in your technique, because it doesn't come easy. You need strength. And what I like about it is that it really grounds you, because you need to have a lot of power, you need to have a lot of control. It's not as flowing, fluid, and intuitive as some of the other dance styles. It is very practical and precise, which is why I think that it does help you on a physical level, on like a somatic level, to connect you to the Queen of Pentacles archetype, which is about groundedness, it's about resilience, and so on. Guys, thank you so much. If you've watched until the end, please let me know in the comments which queen you resonate with the most and which queen you think you are lacking in. And I really hope that my tips today have helped you to bring all of the queens into more of a balance. So keep working on yourself. Enjoy the art that is womanhood, and I hope to see you in my next video. Please subscribe if you liked this video.